As we've looked at finding the reciprocal of -6, which is -1/6. We found the reciprocal of 0.8, which could be looked at like this, multiply top and bottom by 10, and then we end up with 10/8, which is 5/4. If we said the reciprocal of 4/5 is 5/4, then we multiply them together to get 1. And if we started out with that, we thought, well, that's 8/10. We could write it as a fraction, simplify it, and then we can go this route. Now what we're doing is we're trying to figure out what's the quotient of this. 6/7 divided by 3/21. Anybody have a first step? What do you want? What do you want to do to it? Let's see. So you multiply the top by the reciprocal of the denominator. You took like everything and flipped it around. Now we don't do that. Yeah, you're trying to turn it into decimals. Don't go there. Decimals are not your friend in this class. We're not anymore. They really aren't. You're trying to go to a decimal form, right? We want to stay away from decimal. Even though I give you these graphing calculators, we got to stay away from decimals. They're a pain in the rear because they have so many place values. The sooner we get comfortable with just dealing with fractions, the sooner you're going to fly through your work. Trust me on this. I've only been doing it twice as long as you've been alive, teaching it. You gotta get past that hump of fractions being uncomfortable. And here's what we are. Recall, if we did something like 1/4 divided by 3/8, the rule for this is that we multiply by the reciprocal. So what we would do is we would say, well, that's 1/4 multiplied by 8/3. And then we go and we figure this out through multiplication. This here, if you rewrite it as 6/7 divided by 3/21, and then think of that as 6/7 multiplied by 21/3, then you're going to come up with your answer quick and easy. So you got to rewrite it like that. So we can simplify before we multiply. What is 6 divided by 3? Am I going too fast for you? 6 divided by 3? 2, because 3 goes into 6 twice and it goes into 3 once. 21 and 7? 3, yeah. So that goes in 3 times, that goes in 1 time. So this is just simply 2 times 3, which is 6. That's what it is.
Bro, that thing is just sending them paper.
Here's another thing you can do when you do this. And you have 3/21. You can just take this and bring it right up, 21/3, and put multiplication there. That's a quick way of showing the same thing. Simplify before you multiply. Definitely. Get in the habit of doing that. Makes your numbers easier to work with. Okay, then. Did you want to ask me any questions about lesson 2-8? You do? Yeah, let's bring it up. Question 2-8. If you're sitting out there live watching, you can always email me a question, because I'll watch. And once it's recorded, it doesn't work. What's your number?
I didn't really get those 13 through 16 questions.
Okay, where it says solve the equation?
Yeah.
Okay, so 13 through 16, let's just go through it real quick. 13 is 4 times x is equal to 0. And it says to solve it. So if we're going to solve it, then we have to use inverse operations. So if this is 4 multiplied by x, what will undo the multiplication? Divide it by x. Or I'm sorry, divide it by the coefficient 4. So if I divide this by 4 and I divide this by 4, 4 over 4 is 1. So can I do this? Is this legal math? 0 divided by 4? Can you take 0 and divide it by a number? Yes, you can. You can't take a number and divide it by 0. Because what division is this. How many times does 4 fit into here? So if you have nothing, how much of 4 goes into it? You can fit 4 into a 0? If I have 0 boxes, and I have 4 boxes, how many times can I put those 4 boxes into no box? It can't go in there. So that's 0. So in this case, x is equal to 0. And you go back and check and ask yourself, does it make sense? Is 4 times 0 equal to 0? Yes. So that's all they wanted you to do. Use inverse operations. What's the next one? 0y is equal to a half. So this is a good one. 0 times y is equal to a half. So in this case here, we would have to divide by 0. Can we divide by 0? Is that legal? That we can't do. Because we can't say how many times does nothing fit into something. So for example here, if we took a half divided by a 0, you can't say how many times does 0 fit into a half, because we don't, 0 doesn't exist. It's nothing. So we can't figure out how much nothing fits into something. So that's undefined. This is undefined. So in this case here, just like the example I showed you yesterday, there's no solutions to this. So if we go back to the original one, there's no number that you can multiply by 0 to get a half. Because 0 times any number is 0. So there's no solution. You could also write that this is undefined. If you think about it, let's just rewrite it here. What is 0 times any number?
0.
It's 0. So I could rewrite this as 0 equals a half. Is that true? Does 0 equal a half?
No.
No. No, it can't be. It can't be. So we say that that's undefined. It's not possible. Keep going. 0 times a is equal to 0. This is a good one. 0 times a is equal to 0. Can we divide by 0 to figure this out? No. So what we do with this to solve it is say, well, 0 times any number is 0. So when we end up like this is important because we're going to get to this kind of late in the year when we do something called systems. But when we get to an end point where we say that something is equal to itself, that means everything that happened before could have any number used. So then what we say is a is equal to all values or all solutions. In other words, does it matter what number I put in here? 0 times 1, 0 times negative 5. You're always going to get 0. So there's no restrictions in that case. A could be any number. And that's how we write it. We say something to that nature. 3b minus 3b is equal to 0. 3b minus 3b is equal to 0. So how do you solve that? You just do?
They're equal to each other.
Well, how do you solve it? How do you prove it?
Because B is the same, B is the same, so subtract the same number from the same number, you get 0.
So if I take 3 times b and 3 times b, are those like terms?
Same.
Yeah, they're both b to the first power. So can we subtract them?
Yeah,
We can. What's 3b subtract 3b?
Zero.
Nothing, 0. Now we're back to that again. 0 is equal to 0. All values are solutions. So if you took 3 times a number and you subtracted 3 times the same number, you're always going to get 0. Doesn't matter what b is. Put pi in there, you put the square root of 2 in there, you put 57 in there. So this is all solutions again. And that's what I was getting at yesterday with the one example that I went over in class. We can't divide by 0. And when that comes up, in this kind of situation, there's no solution, nothing that works. In this case right here, this case right here, anything works. And then we have other situations like this right here, where there's only one answer. In that case, that one answer is 0. Anything else you want to ask about? Well, I have plenty for you. At least I could they do. Where did it go? I thought I printed your quiz. But I didn't print your quiz, I bet. No, I didn't print your quiz. I'll print it really fast.
So many quizzes.
Yeah, we quiz a lot.
You gave me the key and I don't know why.
To look at it,
Oh. Ooh. This looks important.
to compare it to your work, and ask me questions if you have them.
No,
I swear I printed this thing, but here it goes. Hey, that's paper or did it double sided?
No, I've got the test.
You wanna give it up and give it to me too, I'll use it.
It's only 30 points.
Yeah.
All right.
Because it says 100 points on the grades, I was like,
You can use your notes, you can use your calculator. You gotta show me steps. Okay, cross out number 6.
6. Yoink.
Cross out number 7. Cross out number 9. Cross out number 2. 2, 6, 7, 9. Right? So I said 2, 6, 7, 9. Yeah. Otherwise, the rest of those I bet you can do. And then Marty, you took a whole bunch of paper out of here.
This is everything.